Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 105. Mike Biseglia, Alex Vanessowitz, and we've got a little Saturday morning edition for y'all. The New York Knicks losers 115-100 yesterday. The Brooklyn Nets losers to the Boston Celtics the previous night, as we are now officially in the second half of the season. I know, Alex, it's kind of weird to think, but when we originally did Bad Weather Fans back in the day, and we did episodes, let's say like 1 through 40, we did them on Saturday mornings.
Yeah. Every
how are
morning,
you?
Saturday morning. I'm good. I actually kind of like it. We don't have to stress being up late one night, maybe we can make this a thing again, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice being up early. It's nice, hanging out by the window as usual. And
really exciting.
Very exciting.
They're always hanging out by the window. That's not unusual.
I know.
Daylight
It's just also, of course, in the morning, we're recording this at 7:30 in the morning. Of course, I take my dog for a walk before, like first thing in the morning, every morning. And of course, this is the morning where she's like, oh, well, do I really want to go here? I don't know. I'm like, just go to the bathroom.
I went.
You went outside?
I went. Yeah. Well,
your wife took you for a walk? Yeah.
No, not outside. Inside at a toilet, not outside.
Okay.
I know last night you were very excited. We'll talk about the Nets and as they gear up for the second half of the season and whatever the hell this is going to become for them. It will be like them or not.
Describe it.
Like them or not, the Nets are going to be really freaking interesting.
Yes,
and so many twists and turns from a team that has so many possibilities, which will be just fascinating to see. And for me, excruciating and hopefully with joy at the end. The Knicks yesterday hang in there with the Heat. Barrett goes off for 46 points. He scores 30 in the first half. Too much Miami down the stretch. But again, I know you're excited because he didn't score 50 like LeVert did versus the Celtics back in the day. I had to do that. But I know you're excited that RJ Barrett had a great game.
Yeah, 46 points and with 8 missed free throws, which is insane. That's some Shaq 46 points right there.
Yeah, right.
And it was nice. I mean, he was just to hit that one shot almost, I think it was at the buzzer or close to the buzzer at the end of the first half where it was just like, and if he's getting hot and he's playing like that and they're losing, I don't want to see them lose, and I'm not okay with losing, but you're able to swallow it a little bit better because, all right, we had a star.
A moral loss.
Yeah, and it sucks. I don't want them to lose. I'm not in for tanking. I'm not a big tanking guy, especially when you're this far along in your rebuild. Like 2-3 years ago, obviously you had nothing. You traded Porzingis, so you have nothing. You need to tank, but now there's no tanking. Now we're ready to go. Now we're ready to rock it, and they should be better. And RJ is looking like the lefty, DeRozan, and he's just in the game yesterday. He would just get the ball, and Jimmy Butler would be on him or something, and he would just call for a switch and then get Harrow on him. He was crushing Tyler Harrow the entire game. He couldn't guard him, and they were hacking him. Kyle Lowry was hacking him, and he kept getting to the line. He got to the line how many times? 22 times. It's insane. That's like James Harden level getting to the line, and he missed 8 though. Harden would go 20 of 22. That's the difference right there.
God, don't get me started. Well, I mean, I had kept an eye on the Sixers T-Wolves game. Of course, I was curious to see
how did that go. I didn't miss that.
I mean, they kicked the shit out of the T-Wolves. I didn't watch every second of them, but I definitely was keeping an eye on the box score. And the one part that I tweeted about this that really annoyed me about Harden was not that he got his points, not that he got to the line, but that he didn't turn over the ball. Like he was a turnover machine with the Nets, and just shows you his lack of focus and laziness. But it's obvious if Harden came out and laid a dud. I mean, that would be really bizarre. He's going to come out and be fantastic. The question for him is in the big moments. I mean, there's nothing he's going to come out and be laser focused, and he's going to put on a show early on for the Sixers. The question is, what is he going to do in the big spots in the playoffs? That was always the question with the Nets in a lot of ways. So I understand he had a great game, and I would have been stunned if James Harden came out and was bad. I mean, that would have been such
Yeah.
a goose egg.
27, 8, and 12 for Harden, 8 and
Yeah.
9 for the line, and 34, 10, and 3 for Embiid, and 28 and 2 for Maxey.
You're so high on the Sixers. You're high on the Sixers.
Oh,
man.
they're gonna be in the conference finals. Easy.
You
Easy.
love 'em.
Embiid and Harden is such it's such the perfect pairing of types of styles of play. They are going to be awesome. And Harden is motivated, and he
He's
is.
motivated.
And
He's motivated.
And that's what you had last year. Harden motivated, deferring to Kyrie, deferring to Durant, being the point guard, quote unquote.
Mhm.
So, he's going to be that guy. I mean, I know we want to start talking about the Knicks, but it's fine. We can do this. It's just going to be that way. And what is up with while the Nets sit there getting blown out by the Celtics? And
yeah.
What is up with Ben Simmons? How is he not ready to play? He's not in shape. Ramp up to me is code for not in shape. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it could be not in shape. Maybe there was something that happened in practice and he got hurt and they don't want to talk about it. I mean, it could be a wide range of things with the Nets.
That's a Nets thing to do.
They'll hide it. They're not gonna if he got injured, they're gonna hide everything they can. Like Goran Dragic is gonna play tonight versus the Bucks. He's 10 years older and not nearly as athletic. Obviously, he's an athletic guy, but he's not Ben Simmons athletic.
Yeah.
So Goran Dragic is gonna play tonight. So who the hell knows with the Nets? I know Net fans are extremely frustrated right now with this whole like ramp up situation because it's become the net term for them as we wait for Kevin Durant to play and we wait for Ben Simmons to play. Kyrie Irving can only play on the road games right now, which if you see where the wind is blowing, it sounds like he could be coming back in the next couple of weeks, possibly as things start to shift and move. But yeah, it's a frustrating time for a Net fan. I mean, they're 31-29. They're clearly locked in the 8th spot right now. They're 2.5 back or 1.5 back at Toronto. They've got Charlotte up their ass. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here, and it's a bizarre time to be a Net fan. There's 22 games left. They've got so much talent when they can all there. They don't have any time to get cohesive and do it.
To ramp up.
What will happen? I don't know. Like, what's going to happen? This is not baseball, right? Where you can just plug in some stars and it works. They got to get chemistry. They got to get to know each other. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fascinating experiment with the Nets. I think anybody that says it's going to go one way or the other really doesn't know. But they definitely have it. I mean, they definitely have enough talent and enough balance to win. It's just, can they pull it off? My gut would say no.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need that much time. We always talk about this. I'm a big meshing and fit. I'm not a big fit guy where if stars are aligned, so to speak, if they like each other, they're going to be fine. They're professional basketball players. They've been playing basketball with random people their entire lives. They'll figure it out. Ben Simmons is going to figure it out with Kyrie and Durant.
Sure.
Just like Harden figured it out in 2 seconds with Durant and Kyrie. Ben Simmons is not a superstar level, but he's an all-star level player. He'll figure it out. But, you need some time. You can't just show up game one of the playoffs.
Right.
You need like 5 games. Yeah. You need something. And, you have 22, 23 games left and time is running out. I don't know what, and they're not, you're sitting back and like, the funny thing that you always hear is the Nets on paper are the best team. The Nets on paper will do this. The Nets on paper will do that. And it's just, at some point, the paper championship doesn't win you any actual rings. And it's just, you're probably frustrated. I'm not even trolling. It's just, that just gets frustrating as a fan at some point, and yeah, you're seeing Ben Simmons work with Kyle Korver shooting flat-footed, one-handed 5-foot jump shots. But like, if that's even a jump shot, it's a flat, set shot. Doing this.
I get you.
It's just, it's all true. What do we do? Who cares? Get on the floor, if you're a Nets fan,
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see it. It's definitely frustrating when you're seeing them just get shellacked. And
Harden's crushing it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, that's going to be expected. James Harden's going to have good games with the Sixers. That's going to happen. But it's frustrating to watch, and you don't get to see the Nets' best players. I'll put it from this perspective. Like, the Celtics look great right now. They've been the best team in the Eastern Conference over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But if I told you the Celtics were going to roll out a team without Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart, they'd get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
I mean, they would. That's where the Nets are. But it's been so long that you can't, I don't think people have started to remember that. If I said the Chicago Bulls are going to roll out a team without Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, they'd get their ass kicked. That's what the Nets are essentially doing every night. And it's just because it's been so long. It's like, oh man, they can't beat the Celtics. They got killed by the Celtics. Oh, they lost to Washington. If every team did not play their 3 best players, they would lose every night. It's just a fact. And that's why, the Knicks didn't have RJ Barrett, but that's why it really even spoke more volumes to me now looking back on it, like how bad the Knicks are, that the Nets were just dead in the water with nothing going on and gave up a 28-point lead that night.
Right.
Just to me,
It took a miracle for them to win a game. I mean, the Nets have now lost 13 of 15, and it took a miracle for them to win one of them. So they really should have won one of the last 15 games.
No, they got,
that's
but
insane.
see, during that streak was so bizarre because Harden was there for those games.
Yeah,
but he wasn't trying.
Kyrie played some too. Kyrie played a lot too. They were a lot on the road, So,
but I mean, if Harden's not trying.
Yeah, it's working against you. It's like Julius Randle working against the Knicks. It's kind of like one of those situations.
He legit wasn't trying. I mean, if you watch some of these games back, he definitely gave up and he left and all of that. And now it's each team's in a different place. But yeah, tell me a team that's going to win without their 3 best players. It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. It's very true, and that's why it was difficult for RJ Barrett. He's clearly the best player on the Knicks, and he's 21 years old, and that's insane. And let's go a little bit about the Knicks now, man. It's just honestly, it seemed like Thibs got an ultimatum over the All-Star break, where it's either you're going to play the kids and switch up your rotations a little bit, or you're going to be fired. And it just seemed there was no other explanation, in my opinion, because all of a sudden you see in the first quarter, Mitch needs to come out and Jericho Sims is off the bench. And everybody's like, what?
Right.
That's Cam Reddish is in the game. Quentin Grimes is in the game, hurts his knee. Hope he feels better. He tweeted out that he's okay, but, he'll be out a little bit. You have all of a sudden these guys are playing. Deuce McBride is off the bench. Quickly is playing big minutes. I know they kind of have to with Rose and Kemba gone. And it just seems like there is an ultimatum. There was an ultimatum for management for Thibs to play the younger players and to get the different rotations out there. I know Randall's still forcing himself in there, but it just seemed that way because all of a sudden now Thibs is changing things and he doesn't get fired. If you were going to fire Thibs, it was going to be before the break. You have the time to get ramped up, quote unquote, with an assistant like Johnny Bryant getting everything ready, but all of a sudden Thibs is still there, even after that embarrassing loss on national TV. There must have been a demand to make some changes or get the hell out of here, dude. And Thibs listened and made some changes. And you know what? They lost, but guess what? It was actually fun to watch. They still had a shooting guard starting at point guard, which is something that needs to change, but Deuce McBride is not ready to start. Quickly has his issues at point, but they're not going to learn. And Burks is not the guy to get going as there's fast breaks, and Burks is passing it to the wrong guy and going in the wrong direction and ruining breaks so that would be layups, et cetera, whatever. Let RJ play, let Thibs play, let Cam Reddish play, let Deuce McBride play, let Quickly play, let all these guys play, and let's go. And then I can get excited about watching them. And obviously RJ Barrett's not going to drop 46 every night. But if he's going to give me 25, 30 points, 20 to 30 points a night, and he's the number one option, then that's great. Now, we have to also talk about Julius Randle, who was supposed to come out of the game, I think, in the third quarter, and he waved Thibs off. And then they took Jericho Sims out. How does Julius Randle have the power over the coach? Like he's Johan Santana yelling at Jerry Manuel, no, I'm not coming out of the game. How does he have that kind of power to do that? Like, I don't understand. You're not that kind of guy. How does he have that power over this organization? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways because this is the call out on the problem that fans have had with him for a little bit is the mindset that he is the number one and not wanting to defer or not wanting to understand that he is not after the season that he had last year and getting to his head a little bit. Mm-hmm. And now, clearly seeing, and this is not something from yesterday with RJ Barrett having scoring 46. I think it's more of just, RJ's been playing better. I hate saying RJ. I always have to say his full name because whenever anybody texts me, hey, RJ, I'm like, no, that is not
you
the
think
RJ.
Richard Jefferson.
Yes, and I refuse to
There's only one happen. RJ, okay? And that's RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett. Right.
But that's his actual name,
I understand, but to me,
it's
Rohan.
Johan, Rohan.
Where I'm going with this is that, I'm not surprised that by Julius Randle. Yeah. This is where his ego is. He wants to be the guy, and he was having a terrible shooting night, so I'm sure he's pissed off about it. He wanted to stay in there, which you do appreciate, but yeah, it's not shocking considering the circumstance over the last 2 months with this guy and what has happened. I'm not stunned to see it.
Yeah, I mean, RJ scored 46 points and nobody else on the team scored over 13 points. Fournier had 13, Burks had 12, and Randall had 11, shooting 2 for 15. It's insane. How do you lose by 15 points when one of your players scores 46 points? That's like almost statistically impossible.
Yeah, it's because the team sucks.
Yeah, because nobody else showed up. You needed at least one other guy to do something. Fournier did his job. He's dropped 13. That's what you expect at him.
Miami's good. I mean, Miami's a good team
Miami's
too. I mean, the Miami Heat are the number 1 seed in the East right now. So
and one of the best defensive teams. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So and I think there's a lot of credit they're given after the game. A lot of quotes from like Jimmy Butler. A lot of respect to RJ Barrett, and they got into it. And that's, again, if you're a Knicks fan, you look at, you have a piece. Right? You have a piece, and I had said even before the season started that the key to them was for him to improve if this team wants to have any legitimate future as a team down the road that can do something. And at least if you start to feel a little bit confident and comfortable that you have, somebody in RJ Barrett. You tweeted last night he's the king of New York, which made me laugh because I knew
I swear on my life, I was not thinking about the Nets when I said
no,
that.
No,
just an excited moment to just be like, oh my God, he's a king of New York. This guy
I understand.
Is crushing it.
No,
he just hit that buzzer beater at the half.
The whole thing is just always funny to me when anybody ever says it. Like I just legit laughed.
It's from rap. It's from hip hop, like where Biggie was the king of New York, and then just becomes like, I'm the king of New York. Who's the next king of New York? And hip hop was always, is it Jay-Z? Is it Nas? And then everybody coming up after them were like, I'm the new king of New York. And then it's Kendrick said he's the king of New York, and it's like a hip hop thing.
I don't even think I don't think New Yorkers even know who RJ Barrett is. You ask the random New Yorker on the street, I don't think nobody would even know who he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know a lot of things. I mean, you would ask me who's the lead role of Wicked. I'm not going to be able to tell you that either.
I understand that. Well, I went to the Nets game on Thursday, and I said, you know who's the most famous person in this building? It's Allie Love.
Spike Lee? Not Spike Lee?
No, it's Allie Love from Peloton. She does the Nets in studios or in arena stuff. She is insanely famous. People know her more than anybody else in that building.
Yeah. People stare at these people all day long. I have a Peloton right over there.
Hannah,
my wife, loves Peloton. She's big into Allie Love. I think she likes Robin as her.
Rob. Yeah, I'm a Robin guy.
I like Alex Toussaint. Alex as we stick together.
Toussaint. Yep.
Yeah. He plays the kind of music I like. So I'm usually just into the type of music that I like. I can't ride to some random songs. I just can't get into it. I get bored. I need something that I can get into, put my head down.
Well, all the music on there is going to be good. They're not playing things that are going to bore you.
They're not playing like B-side, but
it's all
still,
stuff to get you motivated and pumped up on the bike, and it's about the beat. I love all genres on the bike. I just need a good song to get me moving and pumped up.
Yeah, for me, I'm a big hip hop guy, but I listen. My shuffle goes from hip hop to Sublime. It'll go from Jay-Z to Sublime to Nas to the Rolling Stones to Tom Petty to Stack Bundles. You know what I'm saying? That's like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't make any sense. But when I'm on the bike, I need hip hop. I can't get into rock when I'm on the bike. I need something that's gonna I'm just weird like that.
I'm not a classic rock person generally, but when I'm on the bike, I really enjoy classic rock to ride to. I think it gets me moving. Anyway, the point I was trying to make was Allie Love is in that building, is probably the most famous person. She, so she's the queen of New York. If you want to go there, you just got me laughing with that, because it was just like, it's because it was like the Knicks suck, and like you're tweeting out he's the king of New York. The king of New York is Kevin Durant, and when he'll come back.
Well, he's the best player in New York if he plays. He just doesn't.
He's the best player in New York even if he doesn't play. He's still the best player. He's just not. He's just like you talk about Wicked. It's like there's somebody that's the best actor, actress, but if they're out, they're still the best actors. They're just not performing right now. Hopefully Kevin Durant does come back. And it should be soon. And I'm so excited to see him play again, because they're a different team without him. And you just see like the impact that true superstars have on teams, that when he's gone, the Nets are a disaster. When he comes back, I mean, they're going to be unbelievable, or not unbelievable. My brain is hoping for, but they'll be better than 2-13. I mean, they will be automatically.
Yeah, no one's going to want to face them in the first round, but you don't want it. You hate that too. I know.
It's just funny. It's just funny because I didn't, it is true though, like from the other shoe. And I don't think about it because I care about my perspective as a Nets fan. But if you're thinking about, like, let's say you're the Miami Heat and you're the Chicago Bulls, who would you rather face in the first round, the Nets or the Hornets?
Yeah, you want to get to the 3 seed because you want to play that 6, because if the Nets are in the playing game, you don't want to face them. You can't maneuver your way to play the 7 or 8 because you
It's
don't know
kind
where
of
they're
a
going to
weird
land.
thing,
Yeah.
right? Like if
Yeah.
I know there's all these question marks with the Nets, but you achieve all year for the 1 seed. I think I rather if I'm the one, I rather not see the Nets and give me the Cavs, give me the Hornets, give me the Hawks. Like the Nets would
Cavs
be
would
like,
be exciting.
oh,
Cavs would be great. That Cavs Nets would be a really fun series
that
with
would be
LeVert and
fun.
Allen. Yeah, that would be
Sixers
a fun
Nets would be
series.
good.
Sixers Nets is what the NBA
Oh
is gonna
God,
try
craving,
to maneuver. That's the one.
craving.
A Knicks Nets playing game led going into Nets Sixers first round would be something that the NBA would love.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
stress inducing. Problem is the
but you know
Knicks
what?
schedule is tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have two against the Sixers. They play national TV Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Sixers, and then Wednesday night on ESPN.
And
The
then they
Sixers
go
just
they go to
come
Phoenix,
on. Yeah.
go to Clippers, at Kings, at Mavs, at Grizzlies, at Nets. That's just a
Yeah.
stretch.
They should win like at least 2 or 3 of those if they were like, but they're not going to.
It's just
They got to win the
tough.
Kings game. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Anytime you go on these like 6-game West Coast trips, there's just
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
even good teams lose.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's harder
Wow.
to get excited or to get into those games. But you know what? Everybody's rested up from this All-Star break, so there's no excuses at this point. And I don't know. I'm just frustrated, man.
I had more people text or tweet or ask me if you and I were legit mad at each other from last week's episode.
We were. I mean, we definitely were.
I
I mean,
wasn't.
during the episode, we definitely got angry during the episode.
But
As the episode went on,
legit ask if everything was okay. So I was like, I don't know. I'll have to ask Alex, but I wanted to wait till today. So I'll ask you, is everything okay?
everything's fine. And you know what? We take our our crowd conversations very seriously. So it's just it is what it is. I mean, there's a difference between sports mad and real mad. If you're sports mad, I can argue with you all day about something in sports and then be like, hey, what's up, man? You want to grab a beer? That's just what life is.
And then you would
sometimes
continue the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I had one time I texted you the story, but one time I was with friends late night in the city. This is like 5-6 years ago, whenever it was. And we were drinking and it was like 2 a.m. We literally had an hour-long argument about Daniel Murphy and about the Mets not signing Daniel Murphy. I was giving the Mets a break. Be like, they didn't know he was going to be this. And they're like, well, they should have signed him. I was like, but they didn't know that he was going to be hitting 350. They thought he just had a great playoff run. And it was just like arguing for like an hour. And to the point where my friend whose apartment it was, he was like, you guys got to go. You guys got to get out of here. And then we just took an Uber together and went home. It is what it is. That's just friends in sports. And like, that's the, the quote unquote barbershop arguments that you have with friends. And that's what sports is all about. And that's what Twitter brings it to the masses on a daily basis, that you're able to do that all the time. And that's the one thing that's supposed to be great about Twitter, is to be able to talk to strangers about topics and debate things and not troll and try to, manipulate people into your own opinions. But that's another conversation.
What's annoyed me? What's annoyed me about Twitter and Knicks fans and this Kemba Walker thing?
What has annoyed you, Mike, about Twitter and Kemba Walker?
This is what's annoyed me, because Knicks fans want to get on Leon Rose like he hasn't done a good job, he's been bad. And then at the same time, they're like, hey, we had to take a chance with Kemba. It was low risk. Like, I thought it was okay. So from that end, they can't criticize Leon Rose because, well, I thought it was a good idea. It was low risk. If it didn't work out, whatever. But at the same time, Leon Rose made that decision too. It's just annoying. I mean, he's done. Knicks fans just have to say, like, yeah, I was wrong about thinking Kemba Walker was a good signing, just like Leon Rose was. And I know, it was low risk, but it was $8 million that him and that and Fournier could have been packaged for something else. And then you look at what DeMar DeRozan's doing in Chicago, where the guy puts up 35 points every night.
It's true.
I wanted
DeRozan.
To be some accountability. I mean,
Don't look at me.
Walker, Kemba Walker's been. I mean, Kemba Walker was a terrible signing. I mean, it could not have gone worse. It could not have gone worse. And I text with Celtics fans like, I don't know why they didn't. I was like, we told you. Look at the Celtics. They lost their starting backcourt in Fournier and Kemba and got better, a lot better, a lot of internal growth for sure with Marcus Smart, who now doesn't miss 3-point shots. Robert Williams is becoming a nice dynamic defensive center and lob threat. But I mean, those two signings were a disaster. And we had this conversation like, you just wanted them to sign professional basketball players. The year before, they did not. The Knicks, with all this cap space, have done nothing with it. And I'm not saying they had to go out and find somebody on Kevin Durant's level to bring a superstar in, but the cap space they have used has been it's been a disaster. Alec Burks is their starting point guard. Kemba Walker doesn't play anymore. Evan Fournier's contract is disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Noel
bad.
doesn't play. I mean, all the guys they signed don't even the Knicks excitement is about the younger players, but their free agent signings have been atrocious.
Yeah, yeah. And what's funny is that, I think all Knicks fans, you remember, I was pissed at the draft. Like, I didn't understand what they did. They had 2 picks in the first round, and then they had it was either first or second, I don't remember, but it was the Mavs pick that they got for Porzingis. They're up on the clock, and they just said, nah. And they just gave it to the Hornets. And it was a highly protected 1 through 22, protected for 4 years, turning it to 2 seconds in 5 years or something. And we're just like, what do you do? Just take Kai Jones, take somebody, take Cam Thomas, take anybody. I mean, you got Quentin Grimes. It looks like a player, but why wouldn't you just use that pick? Like, what are we doing here? Maybe they knew they were going to get Kemba Walker and they wanted the space, but that's even worse.
Yeah.
I don't know who Kai Jones doesn't look like he's done anything this year, but still, you could take anybody at that point. Just take a player, take the guy top on your board. Giving away a pick makes no sense. And yeah, that pick that they traded turned into Cam Reddish with Knox, but still, if you're going to get Cam Reddish for a highly protected first round pick, you could have gotten him for a few seconds or something else. It wouldn't have cost a lot. It wasn't like you needed that pick to get him, But yeah, and I was a little upset at the offseason. I mean, Fournier I liked the Fournier signing because he was a professional, 2 guard, and he has actually played well over the last 2 months. And to what he is, and we knew he wasn't done. It looked like he was done in December or January. Like, this guy can't play anymore. Like, what's going on? But he looks okay. But when they got Kemba Walker, that's when I started to get excited about the season, because you were able to dream. You're like, if we have Kemba Walker with Fournier, you remember I was saying they've actually played together and they're coming into this team and they're the 2 guys and they know how to play with each other and they're going to play with. It was exciting because of the potential, but it was also low risk, high reward because Kemba's not really getting paid anything. I mean, $8 million is $8 million, but he's not really getting paid anything. So I believe next year is non-guaranteed, but either way, they can trade him as an expiring. Somebody will take him and then buy him out. And, this year, Joakim Noah's the last year that he has his 6 point whatever million on their stretch provision off the contract, off their books this year. So that's gone, so they'll have some money, but, and, they have quote unquote tradable contracts. I mean, they can make a move if they want. And honestly, if the Knicks really fall apart and they end up getting a top 10 pick, I want to trade it. I want to trade it with Julius Randle and Fillers. Just get me somebody, man. I don't want to get a guy that's, I know you can end up with Donovan Mitchell. I know you can end up with whoever was taken 12th overall or 10th overall, and that's a star. But more times than not, you're going to get a Kevin Knox. You're going to get a Michael Sweeten. You're going to get somebody who's can't play or
you've been beaten down.
Is okay. Down. He's Obi Toppin, who's good. Obi Toppin's good, but I'm not going to sit around and wait for 3 years for a guy to be Obi Toppin. You know what I mean? 30. Yeah, exactly. I need somebody to be on RJ Barrett's timeline. He's 21 years old. You can't take his age for granted. Oh, he's young. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You got to give him players now. You have to give him players now. Get him a point guard. Go trade Randall and your pick and a future pick. Trade Fournier, trade Kemba, trade Noel. Trade these guys for a big contract like Dame, like Donovan Mitchell, like somebody. Like, get me somebody. De'Aaron Fox, get me somebody in here to play with RJ Barrett. I know I'm just throwing names out there. They're not all realistic. Get me Zion. Get me anybody. Just get me somebody. And I know that you're going to say that it's not worth it. What we're giving him was not worth it. No, whatever. Just give me somebody. Don't give me this whole thing like, oh, maybe one day this guy will be good. I'm so tired of that game.
That's not what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is you've completely changed your attitude on what you want to do. Before you were like, you got to grow organically. You got to do it through the draft. I've seen this a million times. I know how this goes. We trade away all our picks and players and we end up with one guy. I'm sick of the second round. That's not what we're doing here. You have completely changed and shifted your mindset on what your belief is here. That's what I'm saying is interesting. Now you're saying like, okay, let's go out and bring in a star and mortgage everything to get him. And that's a different mindset than you've had in the past where it was like, we're now doing this the right way. We're not taking shortcuts. You've changed.
Well, because they did it the wrong way they didn't do it the wrong way, but it's more of RJ Barrett looking like a star. RJ Barrett looks like a star. And if you want this star to take a step, you got to help to get players in here that are going to make him better, that are going to get his best.
I agree.
Get a point guard in here that's going to help Obi Toppin. Get a point guard in here that's going to help RJ Barrett. Get Randall the hell out of here. He is still putting up numbers. I mean, last night he didn't put up numbers, but he's still statistically and fantasy wise, he's a top 30 player. But he's just you can't give me this guy again. You got to you keep Mitch, re-sign Mitch. He should be your long-term center. RJ Barrett's your long-term two guard or small forward, wherever you want to put him. And these two guys are your future. The rest are irrelevant. Get me somebody in here to complement RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson, like a real perennial all-star, and let's go. They're past that point of the rebuild where, oh man, let's just take a draft pick and see what happens, and let's get more draft picks. I can't take a 19-year-old kid with the 10th, 11th pick in the draft and wait 3 or 4 years for them to be Kevin Knox, to wait 3 or 4 years for them to be okay. And maybe they'll be a rotational piece. And then you have RJ Barrett sitting here ready to get paid and be like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I've been telling you this for months. I was telling you they should make some sort of deal for a star forever. And obviously if it's Donovan Mitchell.
Not last year. I thought they were good enough to be good again this year. And I was just about getting back at, being relevant again. I know. And I thought they had something without Randall and here and like they had 2 pieces and whatever, but that was wrong. And it is what it is.
You were very wrong. Julius Randle is not the answer.
Yeah, but he, it's easy to say that now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it is. And I'm going to say it over and over again. Oh, it's real easy. It's real easy.
He's done a complete 180, man. Like really, like mentally and physically, he just doesn't look like the same guy. And I just don't know what happened, man. Is it that second kid? Is it that second kid got to him? I don't know.
Some people can handle New York. Some others.
I guess. The Knicks have the heaviest uniform in the league, Mike. Have you heard that?
I know. The Nets, though, they seem to be able to get buyout guys. And you pissed me off on Twitter with this dumbass idea.
Which one?
With Goran Dragic, you're like, the Nets don't need another point guard. They totally need a point guard. That's they need one.
Kyrie doesn't play. So
Kyrie doesn't play. We don't know what Ben Simmons is. They had James Johnson playing the point. They totally need a guy that can distribute the ball, especially with Harden gone. They needed a point guard. So I was like, getting on my nerves.
Well, but this is the thing. They have all these point guards that aren't playing point guard. They have Patty Mills, Kyrie, they have Ben Simmons.
Patty's a 2 guard. He can play. He can play the point like he can do it, but he's not a true point guard. He's not going to facilitate the offense. His strength is spreading the floor and shooting threes and hitting timely baskets. I mean, that's what Patty Mills was brought in to do for the Nets. It's just he's been put in a tough spot for him because everybody's been out, so that he has to do it by necessity. But signing Goran was a good signing for the Nets. We'll see. I guess it's a good sign that out of all the players, he was the one that needed the least ramp up. Like, to me, I was like, that's kind of exciting. As a 35-year-old, I like the older guys like that. Let's get him in there. Let's see what he can do. So I'm excited to see Goran tonight versus the Bucks, which not the matchup I'm sure ABC was looking for, although it is kind of cool that we'll see the first time Kyrie and I think Seth Curry are together, which I believe will be the first time in Nets uniforms.
Yeah, man, that's what everybody's been waiting for. Kyrie and Seth Curry, not Steph. Seth. I think Kyrie. I mean, it does feel like if you read the tea leaves. This is what I'm saying with what we've heard from the mayor. When you go out in front and you're like, it's to ease the blow, right? This is my thought. Yeah.
Is that if it was like nothingness, and then one day, all of a sudden the mandates are disappeared, it's like an uproar. But if you go out and every week you're like, yeah, I'm conflicted about it. Oh, yeah, things are getting better, but I know I want to be safe. Yeah, it appears like things are moving in the right direction. We might so he's making it so it's like eases into it as opposed to just ripping off the Band-Aid. This way, I think like in 2 weeks when the mandate is changed, if it does, it's not as people won't be shocked because it's been brought up in the news over and over again locally for the last 3 weeks. And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And we always joked about this over the pandemic. We're like, remember, I bet you can't wait for the first weekend that everything's going to be open. And then we're like laughing about everybody's gonna be at the bar, like going crazy. And obviously we're never going to get that. We're not in like, chain prisoners that just got let out. Sure. We're kind of gradually going out, like you said. And it does seem like Mayor Adams is going to lift a lot of these mandates and the bans and the restrictions. And it's about time, man. I think everybody understands, even like the biggest Nets hater in the world, that Kyrie should be playing by now at home. It's just ridiculous at this point. What are we doing? Practicing with the team, can't play in games. It doesn't make any sense. Road players
can come in that aren't vaccinated. Yes. So I mean, this has been said a million times. If it's about the the health and safety protocols, then the rule should be anybody. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm an Indiana Pacer, so I guess I can play. Like that doesn't
Right.
make
Or
sense at all.
players have to wear masks on the bench, but a guy sitting 2 rows behind them is good, you know, and a fan sitting 2 rows behind him. It's all for optics. It's all optics at this point. And we're both like, we both think you should get vaccinated, et cetera, et cetera. But at this point, it's just, let's move on.
At the Nets at 31-29, this has been in everything that's happened this season with James Harden, Durant out, now leading up to this final stretch as we're in the last quarter of the season. This has been the ultimate test in patience. Like it has been. I mean, this has been the least ideal I mean, this really, for our two franchises, has been brutal. I think at least for me, there's still a chance. It's like a real chance.
That's all you want. That's all you want.
That if they can just get in there, but man, I'll tell you, I started going down a slippery road here, Alex. I'll tell you where my mind went the other day. I was like, could you imagine if the Nets are the 7-8, they go to Toronto, lose, and then they got to play Trae Young in an elimination game at Barclays, and my head was just like spinning. Like thinking of like Trae Young coming in, it's 107, 104, 142 to go. Nets down by 3. And I'm going, oh my God, they're not going to make the playoffs. Like my head started.
That'd be a tough one for Knicks fans to watch too. I don't know who I would probably root for the Hawks just because.
Oh, you totally root for the Hawks. You're a Sixers fan now because you hate the Nets so much.
I'm not a Sixers fan. I just love good basketball, Mike. I just like seeing
Harden
and Embiid. It's just going to be beautiful basketball.
If the Sixers are playing the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, you're rooting for the Sixers. You're rooting for a Philly team.
On that, I don't know who I'd be rooting for. In that game, I honestly, I don't know. I'm a big Bobby Portis guy, so I'll probably be rooting for the Bucks, to be honest.
Full of shit. Full of shit.
Well, yeah, actually, anything to embarrass the Nets, I'd probably root for Harden just because. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're getting into my brain a little more than I'm comfortable with. You know,
like you wouldn't, and it just shows how much you do despise the Nets. Because could you imagine? Let me put it this way: in your right mind, could you root for the Phillies over the Brewers?
Hell no.
Exactly.
Hell no.
Could you?
Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard have ruined it for me forever for the Phillies. I could never even ever think about rooting for them.
I'm talking about a division team that you would root for over like another team in the conference. That's like whatever. It's the Bucks.
Impossible. Like, yeah. Who cares? No, I get it. I get it.
Thank you.
Me. But at the same time, whatever. The season sucks. But if we get a season where RJ Barrett goes on a run where he's dropping 30 something a night and they lose more games than they win, that's kind of a positive going into the offseason. It's kind of weird to say, but I'm not rooting against the Knicks. I think it benefits them if they get into the play-in tournament and they get the experience, even if they lose both games in the play-in tournament, even if they get to the playoffs and they lose in the first round. It benefits them long term to get RJ and Mitch experience and all the other young guys experience, consistent experience in the playoffs. That once you're ready to win and you really do have the horses around you, you're not. The moment's not too big for you, and you're just like, oh my God, what happened? I mean, Trae Young last year went to the Eastern Conference Finals, his first time in the playoffs, but he had guys like Clint Capella, Lou Williams, Bogdanovich, Gallinari. Right. These guys have all been through it, and they were able to help him out there. And that's just one of those things where it's not just about it's more about a gradual macro level thing where it's better for the Knicks to be in the playoffs for the young players than it is for to get the 10th pick in the draft, in my opinion. I just, it's only a difference of a few picks anyway.
Well, that's the point. It's if you have the 10th pick or you have the 13th pick.
Yeah.
It's about let me ask you this. Can somebody tell me from 2018, like Zach Noble listening to this would know this, but like 2018, the 10th pick and the 13th pick, who was better? No. I mean, I understand if you're telling me it's a top 3 pick or something as compared to the 12 or 13, different conversation. But if you're on this fringe of the lottery, in or out, what's the difference there? I guess if you're in the lottery, you could win it. So I'll say that.
The Knicks winning the lottery. Yeah, that's ever going to fucking happen.
Right. So my point, exactly.
Especially with a 12th pick in the draft. You know what I mean? Like
get the playoff experience. I'm with you.
Yeah. And a lot of Knicks fans are into the tanking mode, and we're not rooting for the team. I can't get on that level. I'm always only on the tanking level every now and then, not on the, we're bad because we're bad. The Knicks are bad. We are bad. because it's not because of certain situations, but I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's more we have young players. Let's start winning. It's not like we have Langston Galloway and Alexei Shved and these freaking bums, which I like Langston Galloway, so he's not a bum. I'm sorry. But it's not like we have these guys who are just scrubs who are out there, and Wayne Ellington and these guys that are just, they're not going to be part of the future. They're, Joe max contract, Joe minimum contract, filler cap guy, and cap floor guy, and just let's get the number one pick. Let's try to get Zion. Let's try to get LeBron. Let's try to get Towns. Those are the only real time. It's just now it's about winning. It's about progressing the team forward. You have RJ. You have Mitch. Keep Mitch. Sign Mitch, please. And just let's keep going. Let's keep our guys. You get rid of Mitch, you're going to need a defensive center. You get rid of these guys like Obi Toppin, you're going to need a guy who can run the floor. You get rid of Quickly. I mean, he's been playing really poorly. You need somebody who's going to come off the bench and be that guy that's going to hit a big shot. You get rid of Grimes. You're going to need to, but unless you're going to get me like a star, just keep your young guys and let's go. And they're our guys, and that's how you build a team.
Yeah, the Knicks right now would be like the 9th or 10th pick kind of thing. I mean, there's teams that they just can't get worse than. There's just it's just not going to happen. And you have to remember too, like, you're like, oh, you're only like, oh, if they keep losing, they could maybe, it's like in a reverse way, be a 5 back. They're only 4 back or 4 ahead of this team. If they keep losing, they could even out. You have to remember, like, the Orlando, like the other teams suck even more. They're not winning.
Suck.
They're not. It's not like it's a little different than you're looking at the other teams. Like, oh, they get some wins together. These teams suck too. They're all going to lose. That's been the only benefit of watching the net games and now rooting for, like, I used to before being like, I hope Chicago loses. I hope Miami loses. Now I'm like, the Hawks and Wizards and like the Hornets. These teams lose. Like the Nets. The Nets. I'm like, oh, they're still kind of a couple of games ahead. How is that possible? They've been so bad. And I look, it's like because Charlotte sucked. Because Atlanta loses. Because these teams stink.
Because these teams are 500 or worse.
Right.
So they actually lose more than they win.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Well, I'm glad you found some happiness in the shitstorm that is the Nets.
Well, it's all. Well, hopefully in a week from now, I'm talking about Durant back, and I'm getting giddy, and I'm like, oh,
Simmons has a triple double.
Right. Oh, it'll be. I mean, it'll be fun to see how these pieces fit together. If Joe Harris ever comes back.
What do you think it'll take for Ben Simmons to quit again?
To quit again? I don't think he'll quit again. I hope he's there March 10th in Philly. That'll be interesting. Like now it's like, can he handle going back to Philly?
How is he not ready to play? It just boggles my mind. What have you been doing this whole time that you've been off? Kyrie, to his credit, didn't play for months and shows up and he's dropping whatever the hell he dropped in his first game. He stayed in shape. Ben Simmons, I know he's saying it's a mental thing, sure, and I'm sympathetic to that, but at this point, you've been with the team for 2 weeks.
I don't.
What are you doing?
I don't think it's mental at this point because if he's with the team and he's there and he's practicing. I'm
all-star break.
I can't get into somebody's brain, and it's somebody, trust me, that suffers from anxiety all the fucking time. I completely sympathize with it. But if I'm at my workplace and I'm there, and now it's like the Nets have said it's in this ramp up phase. I think he has a fresh start and feels good. It appears on that sense. So it's something else. And who knows that
maybe the Nets are waiting for Durant to come back to have them all back at once.
Maybe that's actually a really good point. I could see they don't want to have him out there. That's a really damn good point.
Oh, this is what I do here, Mike. I make all the Nets points for you.
No, that's a good thought because they don't want him with Kyrie not there to just be team back. They want Durant ready. That's exactly what it is.
They want him to have a good opener, not like Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond.
Exactly. But you put him next to Durant, you take all that pressure off.
Right. Everybody's looking at Durant and Ben Simmons can drive in.
I'm convinced that's the answer. You're right. They want him paired with Durant, and when he comes back, it has to be together.
But that's kind of sad, man. Like he can't play because he needs to play with his friend. I mean, that's kind of pathetic, bro. Like I gotta let's get out there. This is what you're paid for. This is what you made the deal for. You guys are sinking in the standings. But I don't think a Nets fan is gonna be happy with Ben Simmons just because he needs his friend there. Get out there and play. You're an all-star. Let's win some games.
If that is the case, but it's such a fragile situation. They're handling it like that. No, Alex, I get it. I want him in a row. I want him out there on the court.
You watched every game they lost. They're better the game the other night.
They're better with him, but I think their thought process is if we're gonna win a championship and we're in a long-term goal, we can't fuck this up early. So we'll play it safe in their mind, even though in reality, you're like, yeah, this is garbage. If you're ready to go, let's go. Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, it's annoying. I mean, how many times can you watch? Although, how about Bruce Brown playing better now with James Harden gone? No one cares. It's
I saw a Bruce Brown
I care.
pro
That's not
vaccine
true.
commercial. That was kind of awkward. He was
Yeah,
like, "Get your shot."
I mean, let me
That
put it
was
this
weird
way: if
for obvious
anybody is
reasons.
watching the Nets games now and they're unvaccinated, and like in today, it's February 26th or 27th or whatever it is, and you're like, you know what? I have not been interested in getting a vaccination. It's just not for me. But you know what? After seeing the Bruce Brown ad, I think I'm going to do it. That would be shocking. And I shouldn't say no one cares about Bruce Brown. All the Net
Bruce
fans.
Brown does it.
He's been
Oh
great. He's been
shit!
great. He's been really good. Great. He's been
Of
very
course,
good since
he's
Harden
a good
left.
player, but
But
he's not.
Alex, he was
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
He was good last year, terrible this year. Harden leaves and he's playing good again. I think something weird was there.
Yeah, you can't have Kevin Durant do the pro vaccine commercial. So you can't so that Bruce Brown was available. Durant was like, I can't do that. So
Yeah.
Kevin Durant says, let's get vaccinated. Some kid might be like, yeah, sure, that's great. Bruce Brown, yeah, that's not happening.
Well, I'm just saying, if
Anyway.
you've at this point you've made your opinion on it,
You've made your decision. Yes.
And
that's why we need to open up. People are not gonna get vaccinated. It's over.
I'm pro-vaccine. I think everybody
Yes.
should get vaccinated. I think it's the right thing to do. But it's if somebody's not going to do it, they're not going to do it. At this point, if you've gotten this far, and I can't imagine Bruce Brown swaying you 2 months into where you had an option to not get it, and now you're like, I changed my mind on that.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Absolutely not. All right, you ready for the poll question?
Yeah, get it out there. And I know you got a roll. I know you got a big day ahead of you getting your teeth cleaned.
Yeah, no, yeah. I have a dentist appointment. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. But we no jersey number trivia. We forgot to tell our boy Dolan J. Trump to give us the jersey number, but maybe we'll do a little fun one after this poll question, like quick. But anyway, so poll question. So I kind of jinxed it in a way. So you'll hear why. Knicks fans, what are you looking forward to the most the rest of the season? Watching RJ and Mitch ball, Derrick Rose's return, Taj and Burks getting 35 plus minutes, and nothing. I'm done. I don't care. So 2 hours later, Derrick Rose was out for the season or 2-3 weeks, whatever it is. It's basically the season. I can't imagine him coming back at this point. That one, watching RJ and Mitch ball, 51% won.
Yeah.
And nothing. I'm done. I don't care. 28.6%. Derrick Rose's return, 11.2%. Taj and Burks getting 35 plus minutes, 9.3%. That was all Nets fans voting for Taj and Burks getting 35 minutes. I am convinced. And then the next one I did a little bit later that afternoon when Derrick Rose was done for the season. We were all pissed off. Every Knicks fan was. I said, Knicks fans, what are you looking forward to the most the rest of the season? Nothing. We suck. I hate it here. Is baseball starting? Mike, what do you think won?
I hate it here. We suck. When's baseball starting?
So all of them. You voted for every single one.
Yeah, I'm voting for all of them.
Okay, well, is baseball starting one? Yes, that one, 31.5%.
Yeah. I was looking up a jersey number trivia.
Yeah, no,
I think
okay.
that's what happened. But yeah,
that is what it is. All right. No shout outs today. So, well, maybe I can give one shout out. Let's see if I can give a shout out.
It better be good.
Yeah, a good shout out. Well, I'll give two. So we have Con Liche. He's at Cabrera 41 or 4I. I can't tell. Maybe a capital I. Laughing my ass off. Taj getting 35 minutes. That one hurt. Then Rob Thelusma, Thelusma. He's at Mr. Rob with 2 B's. Definitely not looking forward to this Heat game tonight. I can tell you that, but he probably had a great time watching RJ. Then we have Sway. He's at Soul SOLOJ_9. Can I choose the top 2? Then we had our boy Coonies. He goes, it's ending. And that's it. That was his answer. So thank you. And all right, well, that's some shout outs. You got some jersey. You got a jersey number you want to give me for today?
All right, number 1
on the Knicks. Number 1,
2021 to 22.
Number 1, 21 to 22. So this year, number 1, Obi Toppin.
You got it.
Thanks, man. Come on, give me something. Give me like a real one.
All right, number 1 from. I think I've.
What episode is this, by the way? Are we episode 105?
105. There's no 105s. All right, he wore number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this on the fly. He was born in 1975. He's a righty. He was born in Fullerton,
what number
California,
was it? Number 2?
which gives number 2.
Uh-huh.
He is a career 16-point per game scorer. He has played he played from 1997 to 2006. He played for 5 different organizations. He was the 2nd pick in the NBA draft and was drafted by the Sixers.
What?
What?
What? How many years did he play for the Knicks? What years did he play for the Knicks?
He played for the Knicks in 2003 to 2004.
Oh God, that's a dead zone.
He's
Number
the 2nd pick in
2.
the draft, drafted by the Sixers. You want to hear the other teams he played for?
Please.
Sixers, Bucks, Mavs, and Nets. This is a good one. You want to know what
Keith
college
Van
you
Horn?
went to? Yeah, it's
Keith Van
Horn.
Horn. Oh, okay. There you go. Now, when you said the Nets, that's when it struck me. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I was trying to throw you off with the drafted by the Sixers thing because that draft day trade. That was the whole point.
I figured that was one of those. Let's see.
It's a nice
Let me give you a
sneaky
fun
move.
one. You're a sneaky son of a bitch, Mike. Sneaky son of a bitch.
All right.
Let's see. Okay. This is gonna be a tough one because it's not in your zone. You're never gonna get it.
I haven't been able to get him lately because.
Well, this is an '80s guy from the New Jersey Nets. So he was number 55. He was drafted by the Nets with the 10th pick in the 1981 draft.
I have no idea.
He played for the Nets from 81 through 87. So he was there for a while, started a lot of games, played very well.
Mike Kaminsky.
No. So number 55.
Who is it? I don't know.
Forward. Come on. You don't know? No idea? No
nothing. Idea. Nothing.
Okay. Albert King.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
do you think Evan Roberts would know that one? You think Evan Roberts would get that one?
Yeah, I'm not a history guy. It's just
but he was on the team for a long time. So
I should have known it.
Yeah. That's like me getting
from you suck. I gave you at least somebody that recently.
Okay, fine.
No, I don't want another one. No, I don't want another one.
Okay. Who's number 16 this year?
I have no idea. 16 this year?
16 this year.
Hey, who's number 16? I don't know. Who is it?
He played point guard one game or a couple of games.
Is he on the team anymore?
He's still on the team.
Number 16 this year? I don't know. Who is the numbers? He played what? Who is it?
James Johnson.
James Johnson's number 16.
Oh, he played point guard one game.
That's fair. I don't know. I don't know anybody's number anymore.
I know.
I'm not a
We
kid,
talk about
man.
this. Yeah. When you're a kid,
Durant's number. Yeah. I didn't know Kyrie's number when we did this earlier. You're like, he went to Duke. He played one, he was on the Celtics. He won a title with the Cavs. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me RJ Barrett's number, I just thought about it. It took me like a good 5 seconds to think about what RJ Barrett's number was.
Yeah, was it 18?
9.
9?
When you're a kid, you're more associated with numbers. Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
No. Talk about kids and numbers. Let's do this.
No, I'm saying when you're a kid, and also before the internet, when we were kids, where it's like you had to it was like a pride. He memorized where he went to school and what number he was and positions and the teams he was on before, and you took pride in knowing things like music. I have this music. I have this guy, this song, this that. Look at my CDs, and now it's like, yeah, well, okay, I got that song too. You want to listen to?
Yeah. Well, the internet. I mean, that life's so easy now with that stuff of finding anything you need at any moment. And I'm just trying to cover up for the fact that I don't know any net numbers. Unless it was from 2002, I couldn't tell you. So everything else is a blank. This has been Battle with the Fans, episode number 105. Don't forget, guys, you can find us on YouTube. Rate, subscribe, the whole deal. Nets tonight. They have the Bucks. Knicks. Interesting game Sunday versus the Sixers. James Harden to Madison Square Garden. That'll actually that's a game I'll be curious to watch. We'll see what happens with that. But 22-ish games left for these teams, and away we go in the final stretch of the season, Alex. Not how I thought the season would go for either of the squads, but here we are. So enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good one.